To all my Jamaican people living abroad, this video is for you if you have never benefited from the National Housing Trust before. Do you know that you can still live and work overseas but build or buy a house through the National Housing Trust? Here is how you apply to become eligible. First, you must visit the NHT website at www.nht.gov.jm or click this link in my description down below. Then you're going to fill out the form with your name, TRN number, NIS number, and your proposed income. You will be applying as an overseas voluntary contributor. You must be living overseas legally. So if you jump the fence and you're not straight, it not gonna work out. You're going to then print the completed form, have it notarized by a notary public or a justice of the peace, same thing, and then scan the form. Email the completed form along with your supporting documents to compliance@nht.gov.com. The NHT will take approximately 2 working days to create an account for you, and then they'll send you that account number. After which, you can go on their website, create a profile, and pay your contribution through that profile. You can pay using your debit or credit card. Hello, that's how I pay my monthly mortgage. Every month, I just log into my profile on NHT website and pay my mortgage. I don't need to send any money through Western Union or Yard to beg anyone to pay my mortgage for me. I just log on to the National Housing Trust website and pay my mortgage directly from the comfort of my living room or wherever I am. When you make your payment, you're going to automatically get a receipt. All you need to do is save that receipt. So in case there are any queries, you have your receipt as proof. Your monthly contribution must be 3% of your proposed income converted to Jamaican dollars on the date of payment. You have to be contributing for 104 weeks or 2 years before you can access a loan benefit, and you cannot miss a payment. Your payment is due on the 14th of the following month. That means January payment should be paid on or before the 14th of February. You cannot just make a lump sum and be qualified. And you can write to the NHT at any time to seize your contribution. Plus, you can access your refund. You have been hearing from me. Now let us hear it from the expert.
We always get the question, what do I declare? Is it my gross or is it my net? You know, depending on what country you're from, that terminology may
Well,
vary.
ideally, you ought to be declaring on your gross emoluments,
Right.
right? But the term emoluments can have some element of subjectivity
Yes.
based on where you are. And so what we ask for just to state what it is that is your proposed income. But in line with our standard overall, that should reflect your gross emoluments, right? But as voluntary contributor, we don't get too much behind that veil.
Yes.
We just state proposed income and you contribute 3% of that
3%. So 3%, and your contributions are due for that month, the following month, right, Damian?
That's
so
correct.
it's due. All right. So it's due. So your contributions for January are due by the 14th of February,
Right.
and so on and so forth.
Right.
And that's how it goes. But tell me, you know, we give them that deadline, but are there any consequences? Why would we want them to pay, you know, on time? What's the value and importance of paying these contributions on time?
No, contributing to the National Housing Trust is the gateway to accessing a loan benefit from the National Housing Trust, but they are really connecting arms, but they are separate. So we say that in compliance that for you to contribute on time and be in compliance with the processes that you contribute by the 14th of the following month, right? Now, for voluntary contributors, there is no arrears position. So if the payment is late, right, you accumulate no interest for late payment.
No interest.
No interest at all, right? And if it is that at any point you wish to discontinue making contribution payments, you can communicate same to us in writing. However, given that contributions payment is the gateway for accessing a loan benefit, there are certain requirements to meeting the loan eligibility requirement. And one of those major requirements is that those payments are made on time, which is by the 14th of the following month. Right now, for persons who have never contributed to the NHT before as a voluntary contributor, meaning that prior to you making an application, you were not required by law to contribute in Jamaica. On our system, there's no record of you contributing before. Then you are required to contribute for 104 weeks. That's 2 years on time, with the last 12 months payment being on time before you are able to access a loan benefit. If it is that you have contribution payments in our system prior to you making an application to contribute voluntary, and those contribution accumulates to 52 weeks, then you only need to contribute for 52 more weeks on time before it is that you meet the loan eligibility requirement.
And I think that's an important point to note, because we always get the question, I was contributing to the trust between X time and X time, but I've migrated. It's been over 15 years. Oh my God, those contributions must be gone. It must be missing. It must have disappeared. And we're like, no. Once you've made a contribution, and I think we have to stress that point.
Right.
Once you've made a contribution to the trust, it is yours.
Right.
It is going nowhere. That is the meaning of a trust. That money is held in trust for you when you are ready to, access same for financing.
That's
and so regardless of whether you contributed in 1978 or 2018,
right,
your contributions are there waiting for you. And you made an important point that if you were residing in Jamaica, some persons think that because they've left, they're going to have to restart the process. While they will have to apply now because their status has changed, they're going to have to go through the application process. Right. The good thing is, as you said, if we found a year's worth of contribution, or 52 weeks, as you said, then they just need to contribute just for another 52 weeks and not 2 years or 104 weeks.
That is correct. And we have found that a lot of persons in the diaspora would have contribution history.
Right.
So once it is that we are able to identify and accumulated number of 52 weeks contributions, then you only need to contribute for another 52 weeks on time by the 14th of each month to meet the qualified requirements to access a loan benefit.
That's nice. That's nice. I just think that is just absolutely fabulous. And as you said, there's no interest accumulated, and you can indicate, well, I don't see why somebody would want to, seize their contribution relationship with us. Right. But you said anytime they can write and seize that relationship. But I don't see why, because there's so much value to be gained from contributing just 3% of your income on a monthly basis. Right. And as I had said prior to, if you want to build it, buy it, or repair it, we have a financing option available for you. What we find is that a lot of overseas or a lot of members of the diaspora, they wait until they're nearing retirement or until they're much older to think about settling in Jamaica. What we found is that a lot of persons want to return home, so it's better to start the journey sooner than later.
I tell you what, Dania, one of the things that we have observed is that a lot of persons in the diaspora, it's only when they are here on their vacation and it strikes them, so, whoa, Jamaica is a much more beautiful place than they left it. And at that point, they want to make an investment. And that's a point of engagement. And additionally, one of the things we have also observed is at the point where it is that they want to make an investment where the NHT is engaged. And we're saying that don't wait until the appointed time. Right. Come in before, start the process. From time to time, a lot of persons ask if it's that they can pay up. And we're saying no, there's actually a 12-month or 24-month waiting period where it is that you have to contribute and you cannot make a lump sum payment and meet eligibility requirements. So to underscore your point, you start from as early as possible. So it is that you give yourself a lot of option and a lot of time to repay if it is that you intend to access a loan benefit from the National Housing Trust. Another thing that we have observed is that persons in the diaspora recognize or sees that this contribution is so small that they tend to forget to make the monthly payments.
Yes.
And so one of the things that we encourage them, you can make lump sum payments. You can make payments every 3 months or every 6 months or even for the year. If it is that you are able to do so, in that way you would avoid having late payments. And again, late payments impacts your eligibility requirement.
You really don't want that. So can you imagine 2 overseas voluntary contributors coming together, combining their purchasing power, getting up to 30 million, and what they'd be able to build in, put their savings into that? Because we do encourage, whether you're overseas or whether you're here, there are certain things that you must follow. Start the conversation, and we'll hear a little bit about hiring a competent attorney later on, but there are certain steps. Saving is critical. Apart from contributing, saving is critical. Starting the conversation with us as well as a real estate, whether it's a broker. Don't just rely on your family, because I think persons in the diaspora have a tendency to just rely on the family, to just activate their home ownership goals and their journey. No. Hire competent individuals. Can't stress that enough. Hire competent individuals. It doesn't matter if you know Patrick, your neighbor, and you've seen him mix cement and build 2 blocks, and you've seen him done that to his house. No. Not in this space. Your house is one of the most important investments that you will make. So start saving towards it. Start contributing to the NHT. And start having the conversation and do your research. See what the market is like, because our market is evolving and it is booming.
Why build through the NHT? The interest rate is not much. It's between 0 to 5%. And it's a win-win. You contribute, you still get back your contribution refund. It doesn't matter how much the NHT is giving you to build. Even if it's a 5 million, you can add it to whatever amount that you want to build your house, and it still can bring you a far way. So guys, I think that this is a good thing. It's a win-win situation. For me, I did that over 10 years ago. And right now, my mortgage is peanuts. The value of my house now comparing to what I have left to be paid off on it, it's really nothing. I personally will recommend this 100%. Go ahead, go on the NHT website, sign up, and go build back a yard. Look, see what happened in the world today? See how American people, see how the president are behave? Listen, make sure you have something back a yard to go back to. And even if you're not going back home, it is a good investment. Airbnb, rent. Don't you see how many tourists is going down to Jamaica to enjoy themselves? This your property and Airbnb, make some money off of it. So that is it for me today, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much.